Jai Jinendra. Welcome to Adults Class 2, Practical Applications of Jainism. Let's start with the Nokar mantra. Namo Aryantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayaryanam, Namo Ujjayanam, Namo Gurve Savasaranam, Eso Panchanamo Karo Savapava Panasano Mangalancha Savisim Paramam Havemam. So today I have a gift for you. And that gift is an hour of your time to think about your life, where your life is going. Is it headed in the right direction? And if it is or it isn't, how to get your life going in the right direction. So I'm handing out 3 tables for you today. Our SMART Goals table, our Spiritual Hygiene and Regimen table, and our Identifying Enemies table. And for everybody online, you can go to jainismforeveryone.com, and under the Documents tab, you can find these 3 tables. So feel free to get up, to print them out, to sit down, or if you like, you can, if you don't have a printer, then you can edit them directly, or you can take a screenshot and then write on it in paint, no problem with that, because that's all we're doing today. So let's talk about the SMART Goals table first. What we have is personal goals, professional goals, spiritual goals, physical goals, mental goals, and family goals. And how to use this table is you write down the goal that you want, and you make sure that it is specific, measurable, achievable, resourced, and time-bound. And if it's all of those things, then your goal is a SMART goal. So for example, there should be 3 tables.
Yes.
The SMART Goals table, the Spiritual Hygiene and Regimen, and the Identifying Enemies table.
Oh, I think I did.
No problem. Yeah, just keep on handing them around. So if your goal is to lose weight,
I think that.
if you write down lose weight under physical goals, you'll realize when you hit specific that it is not specific enough, right? Because how much weight do you lose? 1 pound, 2 pounds? You need to have a certain amount of pounds that you want to lose. Is it measurable? Yes, it is measurable. Is it achievable? Well, your goal might be to lose 50 pounds. That's not really achievable in the amount of time that you may have. So you want to make sure that it's an achievable goal. Is it resourced? That is, do you have the scale to measure yourself? Do you have the things you need to lose weight? And is it time bound? It can't just be, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds in general. You know, it has to be, well, I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months, right? Or let's say you say 10 pounds in 1 month. Well, then you decide, well, that's not achievable. So you have to rearrange your goal. I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. Now that is a SMART goal. I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. It's specific, measurable, achievable, resourced, and time bound. That's how you know you've written a good goal for your life. Feel free to take a pen. If the pen doesn't work, don't put it back in the bag. Just keep it. Just throw it away. And you find another pen that works.
So one more time.
Yes.
We start with this.
Yes, we're going to fill this out right now.
We are going to do this right now. Okay.
Yep, we're going to do the other ones later on this hour. And I was wondering whether we should do this today because the papers are on the website. You can go do them whenever you want, right? But does anybody do them? No. So we have to use class time to do this, to figure out where we're going, to make sure that we're achieving what we want to achieve. Because, and I understand it's hard. I told you it's a gift. But it's hard to think about your life. When was the last time you thought about your life? Maybe in the car, you know, when you were driving somewhere, you thought about something that you wanted to do, maybe some place you wanted to go. But this is different than that, right? This is, where do I want my life to end up? And how do I change what I'm doing right now to get there? And sometimes that's the hardest part, is knowing what you want. And that's why this is a gift for you today. We're not doing anything more for this hour than thinking about your life. And there's not a lot of room on here. I just gave you 2 spots for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals. If you write down 2 of everything, it's going to be too much. You're not going to be able to accomplish it. So feel free to just pick and choose your spots there that you want to write down your goals.
What is the family goals?
Family goals could be, I want the family to have dinner together 3 nights a week. The family. Or it could be, I want the family to meditate together 1 time a month. Or it could be, I want to fix the relationship between certain members of the family. It's about the family unit, not necessarily about yourself.
I have a question.
Yes.
R stands for resourced. What does resourced mean?
Resource means you have the materials, especially the physical materials, to achieve your goal. A lot of times goals need physical materials. So if your goal is, well, I want to read 1 book a month for a year, you have to have 12 books. So that's what resourced means. Do you have the physical resources to achieve your goals? Otherwise, you have to go out and get them.
Now, I'm stuck on the first one, personal goals. Because professional, spiritual, again, are they not all personal?
Yes, they are personal.
Okay.
That's kind of a catch-all.
Okay.
Maybe something that's not professional or spiritual. For example, a personal goal might be you wanted to travel to a particular place. It's not really professional or spiritual or physical or mental or family. That might be a personal goal.
And how can we find help on if you don't know what you want?
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes that's the hardest part, is knowing what you want.
Right.
And if you don't know what you want, how can we know what we want?
Correct.
Well, you want to go to moksha, right? And you go to moksha by getting rid of all your karma, right? And you do that by nirdra. And so what is stopping you? Remember, life is a brief opportunity for nirdra. A dog or a cat can't perform as much nirdra as you can because you have intentionality. And so what is stopping you from performing more nirdra in your life? So you tell me that, then I'll tell you a good goal for you. What is stopping you from performing more nirdra than you already do?
Intentionally thinking about it.
Oh, so you need reminders to be like, hey, I'm distracted by my day-to-day, and I have to remember what the goal is, and I have to remember to perform nirdra. So your goal is going to be a spiritual goal, and it's going to be to set aside time for nirdra. Now, how are you doing? Now, how often that is depends on you, and we want to make sure it's a smart goal. For everybody that just walked in, grab 3 tables and a pen. we're working on the first table, our goal sheet. So, Kinjal, that will be your goal, is you will want to write down a spiritual goal of how to decide what type of nirjara you want to do, what works for you, decide what schedule works for you, and then you can write that down here.
Just a thought is, I've been actively monitoring my thoughts,
That's great.
and I know it's great, but I'm not very successful at it. So, I try to not be like a monkey mind, like a thought comes in, I just let it go. But some thoughts, I just cling on.
Right.
And while I'm doing, and I think I've got better at it, is I'm doing what I'm doing, but the thought is still lingering.
Right. So what you do there is when you find that your awareness has been captured by a thought and then has led to a train of thoughts, you concentrate on your breathing, and that will help you let that train of thought go that has arrested your awareness. And so, and it's especially kind of prevalent if you're doing something mundane, like if you're driving or if you're chopping vegetables, something that you can be thinking about doing something else while you're doing that.
Right.
That's usually when that happens. And then, so first you focus on your breath and you're able to let that go. And next you focus on the task that you're doing then, whether it's the driving or the chopping vegetables or doing that. And then you focus on that. And then you'll find it happens again. And so an easy way to let it go is to focus on your breath, because when you find your thoughts have been arrested, you are not even thinking about breathing.
Right.
And by taking manual control of your breath, you start thinking about that, and it's easier for you to disentangle yourself from the thought that has arrested your awareness.
I get very scared to do that, actually, because I feel like if I'm having this thought again and again, then there's something. It's like a sign. It's like I got hurt, so it hurts, right? And I can see blood, so I'm like, oh, there's this problem here. I got to do something about it. So when I'm having this thought, there's something behind it. And if I just say, oh, let it go, like I'm letting go of the opportunity to like investigate and figure out what's the problem, or how do I solve it, or why is it bothering me? You
Sure.
know?
So what you want to do there is you want to write it down. And then once you write it down, then you can safely let it go, because you're going to come back to it. And you're going to come back to it and investigate it at the time you want. Not at the time the thought wants. Not at the time it's trying to enslave your attention and you're trying to do something else. So you write it down, you let it go, you finish what you were doing, and you come back to it when you want to do it. One thing I want to mention is that when we write this down and we forget about it, it's okay. It's okay to fail these goals. In fact, you'll probably fail them a bunch on your first couple rounds. But there is a value in just writing them down, in thinking about where you want your life to go. There's a value in even thinking, hey, I don't even know what I want. What do I want? Oh, I want to perform more nirjara. Right? So don't beat yourself up if you don't accomplish these goals. That's not what the table's for. The table is to remind you of what your goals are. And when you're done with it, maybe take a picture of it with your phone and put it as your background so you remember it, or put it in a place where you can see it, put it on your fridge, or put it somewhere where you can see it, and it will remind you of what your goals are. Because I guarantee you, as soon as you start working on your goals, what you'll realize is the entire world is arrayed against you to prevent you from accomplishing those goals. You'll see that. You'll start to see that. As soon as you want to do something, the entire world will say, no, you cannot do that. You must do this, 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 and this instead. And that's when you start to see reality for what it is. That's when that you have built yourself a cage of invisible bars. And that's when you start believing all those fantastical things that people say, but it sounds crazy. Does anybody want to share a goal that they have? You don't have to, but if you'd like to share a goal, we can talk about it. Does anybody have any success stories from the last time we did this exercise? It must have been, what, half a year ago maybe?
So I think on my professional goal, I think I keep it active in that forefront.
Yeah.
So I've been able to crush that.
That's great.
Yeah, as simple as speaking in a public place and talking about a topic that I don't know, but I was very okay with the topics that I'm aware of and eager about.
Yeah.
To talk about real estate or taxes or something of that nature, but talk about sports, zero idea.
Right.
So I consciously take an opportunity to read or listen on Perplexity or whatever before I go into this public events.
Right.
Because something is going to come up.
Sure.
And I don't fear talking about it, but most of the time I make myself aware to not talk about it.
That's
so
great.
That helps me, and you remind me is, I don't want to lie. So it's rather not talk.
So you can bring that same idea to different areas of your life. You've successfully brought that idea to your professional life. You can bring that idea to your spiritual life. You can bring that idea to your personal life. Same thing.
But with spiritual, I used to dedicate 15 minutes or 10 minutes every morning, but it is so boring.
Yeah.
And
So
I invested in a proper spot, a mat, and I stare at it every day.
yeah.
And once a while, once a week, let's say, I do but I want to do it every day and just super unsuccessful.
That's a great question. It is hard to open this book, and one of the reasons is because it's like so boring, right? I want to read 108 qualities of the Tirthankars, these people that I never met, that have nothing to do with my life. So I am going to go to Vishesh. Vishesh has been reading the book. He has been reading the book actually just from chapter 1 to the next chapter. He's 3 chapters in. Vishesh, are you there? And can you tell us how you managed to open the book and how you managed to have it not be boring?
So I've just made it a routine. Every morning I wake up, I go to the coffee shop around 6:30 a.m. And before I start planning my day, I spend like 30 minutes, 35, whatever, to complete one chapter. And this is a goal of mine. I've also written it right now in the spiritual goals column that I want to finish this book. And I've done it before also when I was planning my whole month that I wanted to finish this book. So it's just a goal. I read it every chapter, even if it's boring. The first chapter there was some the mantras that were there.
Right.
And I mean, it's kind of boring. I mean, it is, but I just want to learn it, and that's a goal, and I try to complete it.
Great. Thank you, Vishesh. And you've identified a great thing, that is discipline versus motivation. I used to think they were the same thing, and it was kind of just weird to talk about. Because when, you could say that Vishesh is motivated, but no, I think it's actually two different things that we're talking about. Motivation is, I need an external force to make me do the thing. Discipline is, only an external force can make me not do the thing. Okay, so I do believe that there's a difference there, and what the difference is Ginjal needs the motivation to open the book, needs some kind of external motivation because it's boring. Whereas Vishesh is going to open the book every day And only if something drastic happens will he not open the book. So Kinjal is working on a motivation principle, and Vishesh is working on a discipline principle. And ultimately, the discipline is going to be better for you. It's going to get you to where you want to go. And right, a lot of times, the things that we want to do are boring because there's so many distractions there for us that are not boring. You know, there's our phone, number one, right? Whatever's going on our phone. Our family, number two. There's so many distractions that we don't want to rely on motivation. We want to rely on discipline. That is, I'm going to do this. And what can help if we have trouble, meaning that it's boring, like Vishesh said, well, he just does it for a set amount of time. So if you just say, well, it's only 15 minutes, okay? If I just devote the 15 minutes every morning, yeah, it's boring, but I know 15 minutes goes by like that, right? And so then that can help me get through it. That can help me start to do it, start to open the book. And then kind of read this boring stuff. I'll tell you though, it helps for it not to be boring if you know that it's true. You will tear through this book in one day once you realize that you're a soul and everything in this book is true. And everything else, the Netflixes of the world, the other books, the fiction books of the world, the talking to people, all of that will start to feel useless, okay? Because you know that the truth is in this book and this is the only thing that can help you. I know it's hard to understand what that feels like, but that's what it feels like when you realize you're a soul and the things in this book are true. Then this book becomes the most interesting thing in the world because it relates to you personally and it relates to how you can improve your life.
I'd also like to add one more thing. You know, I associated my morning coffee and going to the coffee shop and drinking my first cup of coffee with reading. So that really helped. I mean, I can't do it at my home. I can't sit at my eyes feel very sleepy. But if I just go out to the coffee shop nearby, I take a cup of coffee, then I read the book, and it's easy that way.
Great. You hacked your brain, right? Remember, your brain is working against you. Your brain is part of your body. Your brain is not yourself. So it's okay to hack your brain to make it do what you want it to do. That's part of taking control of your life.
I guess it's set up a ritual kind of thing. Like previously, people used to go to temple. Like still now, in small towns, they will walk to the temple, pray first thing in the morning. As soon as they take shower, they will go to temple, pray for half an hour or so, and then they will start the day. So for me, it used to be, you get active. If you wake up at home, it's quiet and nobody's there. Like it's not.
Yeah.
You won't have that much energy, but if you go there and then come back, you may have, like, it helps you to start your day with energy. And
Right. Also hacking your brain because your human brain is a social thing and it helps to do things that everybody else is doing. So that's why it's very good to do that. You can hack your brain to force you to accomplish the goals you want by doing them in a group. Excuse me. Okay, so let's turn to the next table, spiritual hygiene toolbox and regimen. We know a lot about physical hygiene. We're starting to know a little bit about mental hygiene, but we know absolutely nothing about spiritual hygiene. That is, how do we clean ourselves spiritually every day, right? And this is designed to help you with that. How it works is you have a toolbox at the top, and it has different concepts in it like prayer, charity, vows, tech-free day. It has different kind of spiritual concepts in it. And there's blanks at the bottom because this is not everything. You can decide what kind of things you want in your toolbox. That's what those blanks are to remind you of. And how it works is you take a tool from the toolbox and you slot it into a regimen on the bottom. And it's very important where you slot it. whether you slot it into daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. Something like prayer you can slot into daily because that might take 5 to 10 minutes. But something like pratikaman, which would take 48 minutes, you're going to fail if you slot it into daily. So try not to do that. Okay? So, and that's how it works. So once you have decided which tool goes into which slot, then you apply it to your life. You know, oh, every Sunday I open the book. Every day I do prayers. Every month on the 15th of each month I do charity. And every year, on Mahavir Jayanti I do pratikama, like that. And so this is your spiritual hygiene regimen. Just like every day I take a shower. 3 times a week I do exercise. Once a month I go have fast food. We know all about physical hygiene, right? We don't know anything about spiritual hygiene. We know a little bit about mental hygiene. We know, if I'm feeling down, then I go for a walk because I haven't been in nature. Or if, I'm very happy, then I do charity, and that brings me joy because I have the energy to do that. We know a little bit about that. We know nothing about what to do daily for our spiritual selves, what to do weekly, what to do monthly, how to take care of our spiritual selves so we keep on progressing down the path. Excuse me. Same thing here. If you fall off the wagon, don't beat yourself up for it. Just dust yourself off and get back on the wagon. Don't get in a cycle of negative self-talk. Don't make it a habit don't say, oh, it's me, I fail goals, that's what I do, I don't know how to accomplish goals. It's fine. Everybody's going to stop these at some point. But the trick is to remember them. Remember that you had those goals once upon a time, and then rearrange your life to get back on track towards accomplishing those goals.
What is this 35 qualities?
Oh, you'll find them in the book. Yeah? If you want to know what they are, you'll have to open the book. Does anybody have anything that they're interested in? Is anybody interested in doing a tech-free day once a year? Gonna put your phone in the drawer and leave it there. See how that feels.
We do that when we go to camp.
Oh, that's
The
great.
youth camp.
Yeah.
Because the phones don't work there, so
Yeah.
it works out really well.
How's it feel?
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't miss it. We keep busy though, so that's probably why, but
It's interesting when you're traveling overseas, pretty much your cell phone doesn't work in the flight and stuff, and you're
Right.
okay over there.
Yeah.
Same thing you can't do present on the land.
it's just because people are trying to reach you. Like that's not like you have to be, like I have my phone with me because what if my son calls or my parents call? Like that's the thing that you always feel like that would be irresponsible for me to not be available at all. But then with it, then all the other things come, right? Now every time the phone beeps, you're like, what's that update on Instagram, right?
Right.
Dopamine.
Yeah. I've turned off notifications before, like only leave certain ones, and when I find myself getting too distracted with things.
I think that's great. I think maybe maybe for half a class we kind of learn how to take control over our phone. We learn how, because the problem is deep in the settings, and then when you get an update it changes it back.
Yeah.
And you have to do it back again. So I think that might be a good use of our time.
Yeah.
Is if we all took out our phones and we were like, okay, this is how we turn this off. Let's turn this off. Let's turn this off. Let's turn this off. And then keep like, hey, I want notifications from these 4 people in my life.
Yeah.
And that way we don't have to feel guilty about doing things like that. So that might be good. We might do that. And what better way to improve the quality of our life than to escape the enslavement of the phone?
Like nowadays we feel like we just give justification for ourselves, like I'm reading this. You start with one thing, like I want to know about this, but you start with one thing and you end up like 2 hours, you will realize, oh, I read it, but you don't need the whole world's
Yeah.
knowledge with you.
That's
We
true.
are hardly going to use it.
Right.
So sometimes I just tell myself, I really don't need that knowledge, and I'm pretty sure I'm never going to apply it.
Right.
So let's, like, even on Facebook, it keeps on adding more.
Sure.
So you have to make sure you keep that setting, like, do not add anything else other than what I need.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's
yeah.
a very good point. I also took me a while because I used to just tell myself, oh, but it's educational. Like this is making me smarter or whatever. And then I felt like, well, there's all the knowledge in the world. Why do I need any of it? It's even if it's good, why do I need to know? You
And
know?
one more thing, like if you get hundreds of things in your brain, you
Don't.
end up not using one.
Yeah,
If you have
yeah.
only 1 or 2 things, then maybe
Yes.
sometimes
Yeah.
you use it.
Yeah. That's true.
But even sometimes we feel some people, they know everything, still they are focused. I really don't know how do they manage to do that.
All right, so questions or comments about spiritual hygiene toolbox and regimen. All right, let's go to the last table. We have identifying enemies. So this I realized, this we created when we talked a big game about achieving goals and doing this and getting on the right path, but we didn't have a map of the battlefield. That is, we have enemies, we know we have enemies, but I tell you, oh, fight anger, oh, catch yourself thinking when you're in anger, count to 10, take deep breaths. But that is a reactive thing, right? I had been telling you, oh, notice when your ego is going, or, notice these things. And that's very reactive. And I realized that we didn't have a map of the battlefield of our enemies. We actually know where they are, and we know when they're going to happen. So why don't we have a map to prepare ourselves instead of just catching it in the moment, which is just a recipe for failure? Why don't we try to predict where our enemies are, because we know where they are. We know we get angry when the kids are late for school because they did this and that. We know we're going to get angry, so why don't we prepare for that? We know that we're going to be tempted to eat more during a birthday party. We know that. We know it's coming up, so we can prepare for that. So this identifying enemies worksheet is the map of the battlefield of your life. That is, you are mapping out where your enemies are so you can be prepared to face them. So how it works is these are your enemies here on the left side: anger, ego, deceit, greed, the 4 kashayas. Then we have violence, lying, stealing, non-celibacy, and attachments. The 5 vows, remember? So these are the enemies in your life. In the first column, sources, you identify where they're going to pop up in your life. Where do I commit the most violence in my life? Has anybody ever thought of that? We always think, oh, Jane is a non-violence, I'm a non-violent person. But where do you commit the most violence in your life?
In your mind?
Perhaps, yeah.
Gardening.
Yeah, gardening, making a fire maybe. Okay, so yeah, think about that. Where do you lie the most? Yeah, I know we're all good people, but you lie the most at some point, even if you're like a pretty good person, right? Where do you lie the most? Have you ever thought of that? No. So we gotta make the map of the battlefield. So that's the first column. The second column is your reactions. That is, so when this happens, what is your reaction to it? Remember, so we're preparing what maybe has normally been your reaction, or maybe what you want your reaction to be, how it affects me, and how it affects others. This is just noticing the consequences. This is just reminding you of a reason that you don't want to get angry. Because it affects me, because my blood pressure rises. I don't want to do that. It destroys the relationship with my family. I don't want that to happen. Or that's how it affects others, right? It creates a bad relationship between me and my children when I get angry at them. And so that these last two columns are reminders of why you're fighting in the first place. This was a real epiphany that we had, that the class had together. So this is a very important. I'm hesitant to throw more paperwork at you, but this was deserving of another table to fill out for yourself. And that brings up a good topic, right? This is all very well and good, but how do we teach our kids about what we learned on this table? What we learned in these three tables? Do we have them fill it out? Do you think that might be successful? Maybe fill it out together as a family and keep it on the fridge, keep everybody's on the fridge. My kids love holding me to task on the things that I said I would do and maybe I didn't do. So, use them for accountability maybe.
They only remembered yours.
Right. Yeah. That might be the most important thing that we can do, is model it for them. And show them that we're doing it, that we're working on it, that we're trying to apply Jane principles to our life to make our life better. Because if we do it, then they'll be like, oh, this is something to do. Because if we just come on Sundays and we don't talk about it and we don't do anything and it's just work, and then play a little bit and then come back on Sunday, they'll be like, oh, Jainism is just what we do on Sundays. It's just what we do then, and it's just what we do while we're at the temple, and we ignore it everywhere else. They learn that. Does anybody have anything they want to share out of any of the three tables?
So actually, it's funny that you bring this up today, because today is, by coincidence, day one of when we talked a couple of months ago about the plan for getting rid of anger over a whole year.
Right.
I took very meticulous notes on that. Ever since then, I have to start this. Okay, 2026. That's going to be the year of getting rid of anger. Then January kind of went by. Okay, maybe it'll start in February. Then February. Okay, I started ready. March 1st. I'm starting the year of getting rid of this. I have to start already. And so I can't report back because it's just started.
That's great. That's great. So make sure you fill out this identifying enemies table. That is, you know where the anger will come in your life. You can predict a lot of it. So yeah, make sure you think about that, because that will help you be successful. That's great. So what Eden is talking about is, I issued a challenge, and I can issue the challenge again today. If you want to get rid of anger in your life, you can. It's not something that you work on and then you work on in your next life. No, you can get rid of anger in your life right now. It's the easiest one. It goes from easiest to hardest. Anger, ego, deceit, greed. You can get rid of anger in your life. It will take you 1 year. That's it. Okay? If you want to get rid of anger in your life completely, it'll take you 1 year, and then you can start working on ego. And so it's something, a lot of people think that it's kind of abstract or it's kind of general, right? These enemies. And it's kind of, and what I'm here to tell you is that, no, this first one is easy. You can do it right now. It's an enemy that you have and you can defeat it. But the next time as Eden mentioned, but if we spend enough time together, but if we do this goal thing a couple more times, you will have defeated it. So don't be afraid to be a winner. Don't be afraid to be a Jina. That is, to conquer your enemies. Because you can do it. And Eden is working on it right now. Right now is day 1 for him.
I tend to get angry over things that don't really like nothing to do with me. But I feel like if I get angry over like political things, right? Like, that really riles me up. And oftentimes I think, okay, well, I'm doing nothing about it. Like, what did it help to have that emotion? But the thing is, it's also like something that I will go and research, or like it's of interest to me, So if I give it up, then I feel like I'm boring. Like when I go to a party, I have nothing to say, like nothing to contribute, So it's so, I don't know, when I say it out loud, it sounds very like childish or something, but I think I go back to it because I just don't want to be boring. Yeah.
No, so you bring up a very good point, and let's call it political anger. You're angry at the injustices in the world, and that's great. That means you're a good person because you see injustice in the world and you're angry at it. And you have recognized that it's unhealthy for you, especially if you don't do anything about it. Then it's just getting angry and you don't do anything. So you have recognized that, and that's amazing. And you want to keep up with the news, and you realize that it is insidiously poisoning you, which is much better than most people realize. So you're very high up on the awareness scale. That's great. The only thing is, you think, well, I want to keep up with current events because I want to have something to talk about, because that's what we talk about, and I'm worried that it's ruining my life, and if I let it go, I won't have anything to talk about. And so the thing to do there is to be educated on current events as a model citizen, and that way you have something to talk about and you have something to relate with other people. And then pick 1 or 2 things that you're interested in that you can control, and maybe work towards that. And it doesn't have to be money. A lot of people donate to different causes. You can have a discussion group to talk about that with people, or you can direct that anger, that injustice you feel, into action that you take volunteering, or you can do that. And so then what you have is a nice kind of balanced thing where you consume this news, and then you have the 1 or 2 things you work on, so you don't have to keep thinking about the injustice that goes on in the world. And then you're also able to relate to people and to talk to people, and you'll find that you'll have a balance there. And then you'll be able to let it go because you work on those 1 or 2 things, and it won't kind of poison you, and you can get the benefits without all the, without all the manufactured rage that it's designed to, that the news is designed to spark within you, so you keep consuming more.
Yeah.
So it's not childish. It is actually very complex, and you are almost there. You're almost at the right spot where you want to be.
The scenario, what happens with me when I feel hurt by someone's actions or anything, like I withdraw from them, I detach, but then I feel like it lasts too long and it affects my relationship with them. How do I get over it quicker and like have a friendly relationship again?
So the first thing to do is to talk about it with them, if that's possible, right? Say, if it's especially a family member that you see often, have a way to resolve conflict and to let it go. And so that could be a number of things, right? That could be, say, hey, I want to sit down and talk about how I'm feeling. I'm done with that. I'm not mad at you. I just thought this and I thought this, and I want to, be fine going forward. And so if it's a family member, you can do that. And it helps to have like a little ritual to do that with, like a little forgiveness ritual, that you do with people. And that could be different things like having tea with them, or that could be different things like you go on a walk together, and once you're done, you leave it outside, and then you're in, and it's a new kind of, you start over. And so that could be a way to do it. But if you can't talk to them about it, then it's a little bit more tricky, because if it's like a coworker or something like that, maybe you can't discuss your feelings with them. Then what you do is in order to get over it, you do something with them that shows that the relationship has normalized. And so let's say if it's a coworker and you've been distant and now you want to get over it and you want to then you go and you have lunch with them. And then it's normalized, and then you trade information, and then they know where you are and you know where they are, and it's back to normal, like that.
So you have to make the first step.
Yeah.
Just go
I
towards
think
them.
I struggled with that, what you were saying, and I also did that, and so at some point everyone somehow disappoints you or makes you upset, and then you just walk away from everyone, right? And I was very active, so new people just kept coming and old people just kept going, and then I look back and I'm like, all these great people that did one little thing that made me sad or upset, and then I just walk away from them. That's not a way, right? So I'm also working on it, and I feel like figuring out, like putting words behind what was it that bothered me, like really like taking time to think about it so that I'm like calm, because you're like, when someone does something, you're just like can't believe it. You're like, what? I thought you were this other person, I thought we had this relationship, and I can't believe you're behaving like this, right? Like you're in shock, you don't know why, what like led to it, and then but putting words to it, like what was the problem, and then don't wait too long, but just say, hey, there's something I wanna. That's what I try to do. I don't know. I'm learning, because it's hard not to lose your cool. Like when you're talking to that person who upset you, and you're like, okay, now I'm not angry, and I'm just gonna have this conversation. You don't know what they're gonna say back. And then they might say something, now I'm angry again, right? Like that's not the thing, but not waiting too long, but going back and like trying to stay calm in that moment, because at least you went in there prepared that, okay, this is gonna be a difficult conversation. Like, so remember to be cool, just be okay, right? Like I'm experimenting with it too, but like that's a very real problem, and it's good that you're thinking about it and trying to work on it.
With our family, one thing we do is we have private conversations, so anybody can ask anybody else to have a private conversation, to go in another room and we'll talk about it. We like to hug it out. We say, okay, I forgive you, let's hug it out, and after the hug, then everything's kind of normal, things like that. And so that might help if it's a family thing.
And one more thing, like where Jainism we can apply art, it's just way of thinking which helps. Like sometimes some people have some background which we don't know about. Like I have seen some people went through their childhood or their family, something what they went through, and that's why they act up like this. It takes time to realize that, but if we don't know and someone is acting and we have some expectation, we can always give that doubt of
Maybe there's something I don't know.
There
about
might be
them.
something which we don't know, and I see like with age or something I get very reactive now, like but sometimes after a certain time I realize, oh, that was the reason that happened, and so that's where we have to pause ourselves to stay quiet and let's see, and maybe sometimes you get an answer, and sometimes you don't know, but
sometimes
and
it's
maybe
you
looking
too.
at it as a soul, like you always teach, like look at he's a different soul, he has different something, and we are different.
That's true. Actually, it's also us, right? Like sometimes we are reacting. So like I was upset or something happened to me the day before, right? And so it's fresh in my mind. Now someone behaves a certain way, I interpreted it to mean whatever I understood, which is not what they meant at all, you know? But because I was mentally in that space, I just assumed, what? Did you just say that? You know? But they didn't even say it. So sometimes taking that pause and just
So especially with husband that happens, like they don't have any clue what is going on, and we have something big drama in our mind, and then after a week they say like, oh, that was the reason I am like that.
Does this help anybody
yeah.
to think about where your life is going? It's okay if the answer is no.
No, we're doing this at work too, like this time of year, right? You do smart goals for your career. It's good to do it for ourselves.
And it's hard. We are trained not to think about ourselves. We're trained to put other people first. But we want to make sure that we are headed in the right direction. And so this is one way to do it. And unless you take the time, you'll never have the time.
One takeaway is, for me, is mainly the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disciplined on my work,
Right.
but for myself, for my personal goals, never even thought about it.
Yeah, so you never thought to apply a discipline to something that might be fun for you, for a personal goal, to accomplish personal goals, right? You were relying on motivation, and that you realized is not enough. So just like it takes discipline to just go to the gym, right? You have to apply that same thing, like, I just have to have fun, you know, like I have to, you know, plan this travel thing, or I have to do this, I have to sit down and do that, or to accomplish a spiritual goal, I just have to sit down and open the book. You never thought about it in a way like, oh, this requires discipline. Yeah, that's very interesting. It's very interesting that we can know so much, and like you mentioned, I used all these techniques in my professional life, and you crushed it. But just to move laterally 1 centimeter and to apply these techniques to different, it just never crossed your mind, you know? It never crossed your mind. And that's why it's so hard, like, for our kids especially, it never crosses their mind that Jainism can be something that increases the quality of their life. They just never thought about it. It's just crazy to them, like, I just come on Sundays, you know, that's what we do. But no, it can help you right now. It can help your life right now if you apply Jain principles to increase the quality of your life. You can be a better person. You can have better relationships. You can, you can lose weight. You can exercise. You can have a clarity of mind. You can have better attention. You can do all of those things. But it just never occurs to us that, because it was always just in the temple. And that's what this class is always about. It's not just a temple thing. It's your life. So thank you very much for your time this week. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.